Hello everyone, Ben here, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to talk to you about my 5 favourite cars on RaceRoom. Now, lists like this are subjective, and I've deliberately not included any GT3 or World Touring Car content here. Not because I don't enjoy driving those classes, but because I don't feel like they're as exciting as the cars that I have included. If you find yourself enjoying the video, leave a like and get subscribed so you don't miss any of the RaceRoom content we've got coming up on the channel. So, in at number 5 is the BMW GTR 2. Released in 2009 with 540 brake horsepower, powered by a V8 engine, this car has won many endurance races in the real world, including the Nürburgring 24 Hours. For me, it's a little bit like a more raw, alive and engaging GT3 car. It feels less planted and safe and much more prone to sending you round if you're just a bit too aggressive on the acceleration. It feels really powerful, it's reasonably nimble in the corners, and it sounds great. And the GTR 2 class is one of those in RaceRoom with a decent spread of cars, so if you wanted to, there's plenty of different manufacturers to build a full grid, or even run in multi-class with GTR 1 cars, as can be seen here. I really enjoy driving this car and really recommend that you give it a try. For now, let's have a little watch and a little listen as I complete my lap of Imola. The mid-2010 DTM cars in RaceRoom are all fantastic fun to drive. I've picked this one largely because I think the livery's cool, but I'd wager you could have just as much fun in a 2015 Audi if you'd prefer. Another V8 powered 500 brake horsepower car, the 2013 Mercedes DTM, handles very differently to the BMW M3. It demands real precision on braking and acceleration, and armed with the extra downforce, it can almost feel like driving a Formula 1 car at times, more than a tin top car. That feeling is enhanced by the presence of DRS, F1's drag reduction system designed to aid overtaking. But more than anything else, these cars are just a blast to drive because you can really push on them, but if you step over the limit, then they will bite you, and finding that limit is the fun part. Let's have a little watch and a listen. For number 3 on my list, we go back to 1979 and the Zakspeed Capri. RaceRoom has a phenomenal selection of Group 5 cars, and in many ways I think the Capri is the most accessible. But don't mistake that for being easy to drive. These things are monsters which take a lot of getting used to and taming. 600 brake horsepower and no driving aids make the car an absolute handful, and when the turbo kicks in, there's nothing quite like it. It feels dangerous, even though you're not actually in the cockpit, and against a grid of other Group 5 cars from the period, it's a bit like travelling back in time to a classic era for sports car racing. Don't be intimidated though, give this car a go, and I guarantee you, with a bit of perseverance, you won't be disappointed. From over 600 brake horsepower to less than 150, at number 2 we have the only open wheel car on this list, the F4 Cup car. Now, I hadn't driven much of this before the recent physics update, so I can't compare the new version to what we currently have in the sim, but what I can say is the current version drives beautifully. Unlike some of the more brutal cars on this list, this car requires gentle inputs, dabbing the brakes to avoid locking up and carrying as much speed as you can through the corners. You'll want to be very careful when it comes to riding curbs, particularly at a track like Laguna Seca, but overall, this is a hugely engaging and enjoyable introduction to open wheel racing that can be enjoyed by newcomers to sim racing and experienced racers alike. Now, until about 10 days ago, the F4 car may well have made it to the top of this list, but then the P1 class appeared on the ranked servers and I started driving the DMD 20 car, and wow, what a car it is. For me, more immediately enjoyable than the P1 Audi, powered by a V12 engine, driving this LMP1 car is like piloting a rocket ship. Not that I know how that actually feels, but then again, I don't know what driving an actual LMP1 car feels like either. But I can believe it feels a bit like this does. Incredible power, ridiculous grip through the high speed sections, and then comparatively useless in the slower corners. I love driving this car. I could spend hours just lapping Spa or Road America or the Nürburgring in these machines very happily, because the drivability is just so good and the sheer pace of the car is so absorbing. And the most amazing thing? This car comes free with RaceRoom. You can literally lap this car around Portimao or Sepang for free. So if you didn't get around to racing one of these in the ranked servers, I really encourage you to do so. So there you go, my top 5 cars spanning the 1980s sports cars, early 20th century GT cars, German touring cars, open wheelers and LMP1. But what do you think? Have I missed any must-try cars in RaceRoom? Let me know in the comments below. Get subscribed to the channel and I will leave you with the remainder of this lap of Spa in the fantastic DMD 20.